trying to say that you are trying very hard to stay away from your father's shadow?
It's none of my business.
Jackie Chan has been a global icon for decades, with his every move scrutinized and admired. But what about his son, JC? For 41 years, JC Chan has lived in the shadow of his legendary father, keeping much of his personal life under wraps, until now. Today we dive into the shocking revelation that JC has finally shared, a truth long suspected but never confirmed, until he broke his silence. What did he reveal? Stay tuned. Living under the shadow of Jackie Chan. Imagine growing up with Jackie Chan as your father, an international superstar, a martial arts legend, and one of the most recognizable faces in the world. From the outside, it might seem like a dream come true. But for JC Chan, it's been anything but easy. Living under the towering figure of Jackie Chan brought with it expectations that most of us can't even fathom. The world didn't just see JC as his own person, they saw him as an extension of Jackie's legacy. Growing up in Hong Kong, JC had been constantly compared to his father. Could he equal Jackie's larger-than-life persona? How could he really? After all, Jackie Chan was not just an actor, but some sort of phenomenon. From heart-stopping stunts to box office hits, his shadow loomed over every part of JC's life. JC was not too keen on martial arts or acrobatics, which further disappointed the public eye. He moved more towards music and acting, somehow creating his own space. Yet no matter what he did, the spotlight always swung back to his father's legacy. The expectations were overwhelming, and for years, JC remained relatively silent regarding the problems he faced. Why? Why does JC Chan never speak about the pressure of being Jackie Chan's son? And the answer may just surprise you. It wasn't because of some issue of privacy, but the impossible standard to live up to. JC grew up under the mainstream judgment and personal family pressure. Every success of his was compared to Jackie's successes. And every failure? Well, magnified by media attention. It is little wonder that JC chose silence. But what was he hiding? And why has he chosen to speak out now after all these years? JC's silence, it now appears, was not just a retreat from the limelight. It was a coping mechanism against the crushing weight of being Jackie Chan's son. But finally, at 41, JC has had enough. He wants to step out from his father's shadow and tell his part of the story. The world, it would appear, has waited decades to hear from him, and the truth is coming out. Behind closed doors, a complex bond. The moment the name Jackie Chan is mentioned, our minds are instantly bombarded with images of his death-defying stunts and charisma that is as infectious as any deadly virus. But behind the curtain, away from the flashes of cameras, lies a relationship most people know little about, how he is with his only son, JC. To any outsider, the father and son tandem may seem to be just one well-heeled celebrity family, but nothing could be farther from the truth. It was a relationship framed by distance, silence, and unspoken tensions. For years, there were rumors swishing around concerning the tension between Jackie and JC. Speculation ranged from everything to differing life choices to an age-old generation gap. Truth runs much deeper than the tabloids suggested. Jackie himself is often vocal over his struggles in balancing his career with family life and actually being barely present there for his son. To put it bluntly, while Jackie was busy conquering Hollywood, JC grew up with an absent father's palpable presence in the house. Imagine being the son of a worldwide legend and yet feeling invisible in his shadow. But perhaps the most shocking bombshell of all was when Jackie casually mentioned that he wasn't leaving his fortune to his son. For many, it was a decision not to be envisioned. After all, in traditional families, legacies are passed down and fortunes are inherited. But for Jackie, it was a statement of principle, a belief that JC needed to make his way rather than rest on the wealth his father accrued through blood, sweat, and countless injuries. This decision left fans and critics alike to wonder if it was tough love or if something more personal came into play. Was that what made them look so strained, or did another layer exist? JC took no public name-calling for many years, further fueling the speculation. Now, at 41, recent statements he has made seem to indicate the story may have more to it than we thought. Amazingly, Jackie's hard love somehow became a defining characteristic in their relationship through all highs and lows. Public interviews revealed a father who, even with his international stardom, maintained an ostensibly hard exterior when it came to his son. And while JC rarely spoke of it publicly, hints about how he feels toward the upbringing have begun to emerge, teasing us with insights but never fully divulging the emotional weight carried between father and son. This was both a personal and public rift, as if fans joined some unsolvable mystery. But what if JC's long silence was cloaking a bombshell? What if the reason JC's father decided to keep his fortune had more to do with issues of trust or lack thereof? As years went by, their relationship continued to be shrouded in mystery, fueling the speculations. Is JC's recent revelations what finally unravels some much-needed clarity for the suspicions of fans? Hold tight, because this story has layers yet to unravel. The downfall that shook the family. Just when the public thought they had a grasp on the Chan family dynamic, scandal struck, shaking the family's foundation. In 2014, JC Chan found himself at the center of a media storm that few families could recover from. News broke of JC's arrest in Beijing for drug-related charges, a moment that sent shockwaves through both the entertainment industry and the Chan household. For many, it was a fall from grace they never saw coming. The story splashed across headlines wasn't just about JC. This was about the son of Jackie Chan, the global superstar known for his impeccable work ethic, philanthropic deeds, and squeaky clean image. The arrest didn't just tarnish JC's name, it also cast a shadow over the entire Chan legacy. Overnight, the Chan name became associated with scandal, and the media had a field day. Questions swirled. How could someone raised by one of the world's most disciplined stars fall so far from grace? This wasn't just any scandal. It was one that hit close to home for Jackie, a man who had once been the spokesperson for anti-drug campaigns in China. The irony was impossible to ignore, and so was the disappointment etched in Jackie's public response. He issued a statement expressing shame and regret, not just for his son's actions, but for his failure as a father to guide JC away from such a destructive path. The public scrutiny was relentless, yet, even in this dark chapter, there were hints of something more complex at play. Some wondered if JC's rebellion was a cry for independence, a way to finally break free from the overwhelming expectations placed on him as Jackie Chan's son. After all, how do you create your own identity when the world only sees you as an extension of someone else's greatness? Was this scandal JC's unfortunate way of stepping out of his father's massive shadow? The aftermath of the scandal didn't just bring legal consequences, it led to a temporary disintegration of JC's public career. Once on the rise as a budding actor and musician, JC's professional opportunities dried up almost overnight. He became a pariah in an industry that had little tolerance for controversy, and his road to redemption seemed impossible. But what if this downfall was also the beginning of JC's personal transformation? What if this lowest point in his life was what pushed him to finally address the questions everyone had been asking for years? His recent confessions hint that the scandal may have been the catalyst for self-reflection, a chance to finally come to terms with his identity, separate from his father. Could it be that JC's darkest moments were, in fact, the key to unlocking a new chapter for both himself and the family legacy? Stay tuned, because what JC reveals next might just be the most unexpected twist of all. JC's road to redemption. Most would have expected JC Chan to slink away from view quietly after hitting rock bottom, allowing the weight of his mistakes to pull him under for good. But then he had other plans, the son of Jackie Chan. Released from prison, JC did the last thing many could have predicted. He began the long, arduous path of rebuilding a life. This isn't about reclaiming a career, but piecing together an identity shattered by scandal. The road to redemption is never smooth, and in JC's case, it wasn't an exception. He had spent 6 months behind bars for his 2014 drug-related charges and was thrust into a world that was as hungry for gossip as it was apathetic to his attempts at making a comeback. His father's celebratedness, once a burden he carried, had now become an even greater obstacle. Instead of people seeing JC Chan, they saw the son of Jackie Chan who had let the world down. But instead of allowing this to define him, JC started the long climb out of the darkness, step by step. First step back to the arts. Music and acting were his loves, but now they became his haven. Though the return of JC to the entertainment circles was rather quiet and not spectacularly eventful, he had worked hard backstage, releasing music and joining smaller film projects. Rather, it wasn't some splashy comeback that many had expected. That is what made it all so much more intriguing. Why wasn't JC seeking the limelight? What was keeping him from making a bigger, more public return? Perhaps JC was into something more important at that time: personal growth. The scandal had also put him to task, not just with his public image, but also his private struggles. His time in prison reportedly did a lot to drive introspection, which made JC realize that for him to truly move on, he needed to redefine himself for himself. Rather, it ceased to be about proving anything to the world, let alone his father, but one of evolving into a better person, one he had always known he could be. What's more interesting, though, is that through all the quiet reemergences he made, the media in large part just ignored it, and JC never lost his determination. According to sources close to him and friends, JC began to set eyes and focus on more meaningful projects, starting with entertainment and personal development. His music, especially, was beginning to be an avenue for self-expression. Little parts of his soul were embedded in every lyric, which he had previously kept hidden. Yet, even as JC began to carve out a new path, the question hounded him: why now? Why, after all these years, did he finally start sharing more of himself about his journey? Was it a newfound confidence, or was the load of his past finally catching up with him? Whatever the reason, one thing was clear. JC Chan was not the same man who had been embroiled in scandal years earlier. His slow and steady return hinted at something deeper, something more personal. So what sparked this transformation? Was it the desire to finally step out of his father's shadow, or had he found new inspiration through his hardships? As JC's story unfolds, we're left wondering, could this redemption arc be the prelude to a bigger revelation? Keep watching, because the most surprising chapter of his life might still be waiting in the wings. JC breaks his silence, the truth behind his life. And here we are at this moment that we have all been waiting for. JC Chan, at 41, has finally broken his silence. For years on end, the public speculated, whispered, and wondered over the truth that lay beneath his strained relationship with his father, a legal scandal, and an apparent disappearance from the limelight. But now, after all these years of silence, JC finally spoke up, and what he revealed was way more than any had expected. This was a rare interview, during which he let the curtain fall off his life, and the first order of business was an attempt to address the many rumors that have surrounded him for years. First and most sensitively, he spoke about his relationship with Jackie. At all times, speculations had been made concerning the distance between them, mostly assuming that JC's legal troubles had fractured their bond forever. JC set the record straight, saying that was not just a scandal, but the cracks in their relationship began much earlier, long before the world knew about his struggles. JC said one thing that was not easy to do was to grow up in the shadow of his father's colossal fame. But growing up, he often felt the pressure of the Chan name, but found it impossible to measure up to the towering expectations placed upon him. And while Jackie was busy with international fame, JC was left to navigate life largely on his own. The emotional distance, JC revealed, had little to do with money or with fame, but dealt with just two people, a father and son who simply don't understand each other. But here's the kicker. Despite years of rumors to the contrary, JC made a point to drive home there was simply never any buried resentment between he and his father. Okay, their relationship was strained, and okay, it had its fair share of ups and downs, But in the end, both men had come to a silent understanding. JC said it took time and a lot of growth on both sides, but they were finally in a better place. That came as a surprise to many, as that wasn't the dramatic fallout that most had assumed. Yet JC didn't stop there. He even went so far as to address the public's speculation regarding his inheritance, or rather the lack of one. Jackie had once famously said he wouldn't leave his fortune to JC, which had led to endless gossip about tension and betrayal. But in a surprising turn of events, JC shrugged off the rumors, revealing that wholeheartedly he supported his father's decision. "I never expected anything from my dad," he confided. "I wanted to make my own way." It was a complete role reversal. All along, the public had thought the fortune had been a point of contention between father and son, when in reality it was something they'd both moved past eons previously. JC's silence all those years hadn't been about holding resentment. It had been about forging his path away from his father's legacy. Why now? Why now, after all these years, does JC suddenly have something to say? Perhaps it's the culmination of years of introspection, or maybe at 41, he simply felt it was time some of the record was straightened out. Whatever the reason, his revelations have left us with more questions than answers. What more does JC have to reveal? And how much of his story is still untold? Stick around, because this story is far from over. A new era for the Chan family? Now that the dust has settled from JC Chan's candid revelations, one question is on everyone's lips. What next for the legendary Jackie Chan and family? While Jackie Chan's legacy might be sealed in the annals of global cinema, with JC stepping into the limelight to tell his story, the future of the Chan family dynamic indeed is set for a dramatic change. Jackie Chan has been a face of persistence, innovation, and commitment in the world of the film industry for many years. His legacy stands not only on the iconic sequences of action, nor on charismatic screen presence, but on the need that he deeply felt: lifelong commitment to his craft and philanthropy. But now, as JC starts forging his path, another chapter is being born that could re-identify what it means to be part of the Chan family. With JC's recent openness about his struggles and triumphs, we are seeing the beginning of a new era for the Chan legacy. No longer confined to the towering shadow of Jackie's fame, JC is emerging as an entity in his own right, with his own story to tell. This transition opens up some very intriguing possibilities. Might JC's journey light the way for future generations seeking to balance their own identities against the weight of their family's legacy? Or will the name Chan always remain at the top, overshadowing its offspring, so that no person dare even attempt to come out from under such a colossal shadow? The next move JC will make is anything but predictable. Will he follow in his father's footsteps and start working in the entertainment industry, possibly even with Jackie on some new projects that merge their respective talents? Or will he take a very different path, one in which his involvement becomes more personal, defining what makes him tick? The open loop keeps us on the edge of our seats as we define how JC navigates his dual identity, both as Jackie Chan's son and his own man. Moreover, the influence of Jackie Chan does not apply only to his main family. His work has inspired many actors, stunt performers, and filmmakers around the world, thus creating a ripple effect that guarantees his legacy for generations to come. The more JC starts sharing his life, pressures, and expectations faced by him, it contributes to a better understanding of what it is like to carry on such a heritage name. With this transparency, hopefully more celebrity offspring will not be afraid to speak their mind about their experiences, allowing others a much-needed glimpse into what life is like in the limelight. But what is in store for Jackie and JC's relationship in the future? It would appear the recent revelations have brought a thaw in their icy bond, and the two are probably on their way to a harmonious understanding. Could we even witness a rekindled father-son relationship that heals the old wounds and cements them more strongly into each other's families? This possibility adds another layer of intrigue, leaving us to wonder how their dynamic will eventually play out over the years. With Jackie Chan aging gracefully, and announced to take a back seat for more behind-the-scenes work and philanthropy, JC stands at a crossroads. How well he steps out of his father's shadow and into his own will affect not just his personal life, but the greater narrative on the Chan family legacy. Is JC's story one of redemption and self-discovery to match an otherwise illustrious career from Jackie, or a cautionary tale on the hard task of living up to such an iconic name? One thing is for sure, the Chan family saga is far from over. With JC finding his voice, we stand on the cusp of a sea change in the character arc of one of cinema's greatest families. And until then, one can only begin to envision what other plot twists and turns lie ahead to further confound us all with what's next with the Chan lineage. As we wrap up this in-depth look into the convoluted Chan family saga, one thing is for sure. The legacy of Jackie Chan is shifting, and so is the story of his son JC. What does the future hold for this iconic family? Only time will tell. If you found this unearthing interesting, like, comment, and subscribe for more exclusive revelation insights. And remember, the next chapter might just be around the corner.